People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you for watching and rocking each and every time, as you guys already know. Quick video, we're not going to be here long, but a bit of transfer news. Now, first and foremost, Liten Sport and I believe Ahmed Honche, I cannot say his name, but these were allegedly their reliable news outlets. They were the first to report allegedly that we were interested in Saliba. Apparently, Arsenal have not made a single bid for Claude Maurice. For all the excitement and all the talk on Twitter, apparently we have not made a single bid. And what's worrying for Arsenal, if they do want him, West Ham have made a last-minute offer of over 10 million, which makes them the highest bidder. Apparently, Gladbach, a team that develops young players, especially French ones, they've got Cousins, who needs to play more, in my opinion, and is going to have a decent season. They've been linked with him. Apparently, they're in negotiations, and the player is very keen to join them. If we look at his own words quickly, people, from which I saw on Twitter today, he told L'Equipe, I cannot say the name of the newspaper, I want to join Gladbach. They are a club that focus on young players. There is a good structure. They're playing in the Europa League, and I like their project. It suits me. Now, we're playing in the Europa League. Our project will suit you with youth people. My guy, come. We focus on young players. Maybe not Emery, but we focus on young players. Of course, I want him, but that just shows you if we haven't legitly bidded for him, then we need to wait and see in regards to what we do. Obviously, I'll make these transfer vids and I tell you, look, be patient. Until the 1st of July, we're probably not going to see anything. Now, obviously, I want to see more moves, but we don't really know what the club is planning. But Claude Maurice won't be coming to the club. Already, what we know is that Edu allegedly is getting ever closer to returning home as a backroom staff. We all know Edu's won titles at this club. He's won trophies. He's made over 100 appearances. He's Arsenal through and through within his 5 years here. 2 leagues and 2 FA Cups, forgive me if I'm wrong. We know he's going to return as technical director. He's currently with the Brazil squad in the Copa America. Shout out to the Brazilian FA or whatever, because they declined a 6 million compensation fee, which could have been a costly hit if it didn't work out for Arsenal. Allegedly, talks are at an advanced stage and it's being viewed as inevitable for the 41-year-old. This is all by Sammy Mockbell. I believe he works for the Daily Mail. So it's more of the same. We'll see how that one goes, people. We'll see how that one goes, and hopefully it's decent for us. I was gonna include this in a separate vid, but we're here anyways. We might as well speak about it quickly, people. I know you all saw the Under-21s Championships, or you've been all glued to it. Jeff Reine Adelaide. Now, it was a shame that Guendouzi and Nelson played no part against France, and actually Dragomir former Gooner didn't play for Romania in their victory over, who did they play? Croatia. But Jeff Reine Adelaide, now it was lovely to see him. Still very raw, still got a lot of development, but you can see first team football's been kind to him. At moments he's pressing as a striker, at moments he's sitting in midfield, he's drifting out to the flanks. From start to finish, he's always involved in plays, receiving off his centre-halves, he's playing neat passes in midfield. He's a very cultured lad who obviously got an assist for a Kone in the second half. England, I mean, AD Boothroyd, we're down to 10 men. You have 2 strikers on the field. We should not have lost that game, but I feel Jeff Reine was superb in that game. And the funny thing about the Under-21s Championship, obviously at Under-20s and Under-19s and 17s, as I've reported on all these sort of things, 19s to come up and to Lawn. Obviously, a lot of young players get moves, but for me, I see a lot of moves with the under-21s, especially because 23-year-olds, I don't feel it's right, but 23-year-olds can play in this competition, and there's a lot of established players. You see Upamecano, you see Tar, Belix fairly established, with obviously scouting in, Jeff's known, Icone's been around for a while, Bamba of France has been around for a while. Spain obviously got the Ceballos, the Ruizes. You get the point, people. There's established stars in this, people, and it's always nice. It's always nice to see for me, because you see a lot of players get moves. Off topic, I feel Phil Foden was quality yesterday as well, people. But I feel Jeff was good, and obviously second half of the season, you've seen Jeff Reine Adelaide play in sort of midfield cam sort of role, inside more withdrawn, and surely if that Wenger said that would be him long term, it seems to be him long term. Surely he could have done that at Arsenal as well as typically playing on the flanks or filling in where he has done during his time here. We all know he's got a future inside. So if he had a future in midfield, let's just say assume he could do the Ramsey sort of role, similar to how I made a video about Iwobi's credentials for that. Let's just assume he could do that. I wonder what it is that Emery really didn't rate about Jeff Reine Adelaide. It's not a criticism. If you don't, of course I wanted him to stay at the club, and he's still developing, and he is frustrating in many aspects. He's of the age where he needs to play with greater maturity at first team level consistently. But I'd like to know what specifically went wrong. Now, he was a winger. Well, he was playing on the flanks. Did you deem Iwobi was better, or you deem you want to go with Iwobi? Fair enough. Like I said, he's got a future in midfield, so let's just assume he could do the Ramsey role. You could have had Jeff, you could have possibly had Iwobi, maybe Nelson and Emil all filling in these sort of positions. So I'd like to know, just as it to humour myself really, what it was specifically Emery did not rate or thought he wouldn't take quite a fancy to Jeff Reine Adelaide, because he didn't go on tour with us. He was obviously subbed on and subbed off against Boreham Wood. And to be fair, it's a blessing in disguise, because for all his development and stuff, He's left what would have been a season of 23s football and hoping Emery gives you a chance to play first team football, and he's being linked with bigger clubs and more reputable clubs than the one he's at. No disrespect. So I would personally like to know what it is specifically that Emery didn't rate about him, because it was Emery's choice and Emery's choice alone to get rid of my man. I would just love to know what it is, to be fair, because if you remember, Emery said he knew everything about every young player more or less here. Fancy documents on Maitland-Niles, on Mavropanos, and all of these sort of players, and all these other young players who barely played and stuff. So I'd like to know. I'd actually just like to know, to be fair, because it does feel a bit like, whether you believe in Benasia's potential, just because he's become more established now, it does feel a bit like Benasia, a bit like Gnabry, a bit like Marlon, a bit like, you lot know people, the people that should be getting chances at Arsenal and leaving for pennies. And if they're not going to make it at Arsenal, like I said, have we barely touched 20 million for selling Benasia, Marlon, Gnabry and Jeff? It is quite shocking, really and truly. So there's that. Just a quick word on a couple of other players, people. Obviously, like I said, I like to watch these sort of players. I feel Ikone, obviously people are going to speak about Ikone and things like that, and whether he could get a move to a club and things, and I think he can. He's only 21. I've seen a lot of him at youth level. Has he played for Montpellier? He's definitely played for someone before Lille, whether that was on loan or somewhere, and he had a decent season, forgive me if I'm wrong. For me, the one thing that I like about Ikone and strikes me first is his bravado. He relishes it. You look at his celebrations, ice cold. He's left-footed. He can play on the right or the left. I think he can play for a team. He could do a job at the top six in terms of the squad, but I think he'd have more luck joining a team outside the top six, because he is a bit frustrating from what I've seen. He's only got 3 goals last season. He is a good player, but he is frustrating, and he still is developing. So I think he would do a good job for a top 10 club, newly promoted, or a fairly established Premier League side. And if he could develop and add goals and assists and play with greater maturity in his game, he could be a terrific player, people. I'm not sure Leo open to losing possibly Pepe, him, and also Bambo, who's got decent techers, and yesterday nutmeg someone as well. Obviously, like I said, people, there's a lot of players that are heavily watched and stuff. Upamecano, I'm a fan of his. He's still raw, and again, he can cut his teeth at the Uniteds, the Arsenals, and everyone, in my opinion, in the top 6. But he's shown that he's still young and very raw. I feel at times it's lovely to see that he brings the ball out from the back, but I feel with the day and age of today's centre-halves of bringing it out the back, especially the young ones, they put their teams under pressure. I feel at times he brings it out from the back, and he plays passes that leave him vacated out of position and also put pressure on his teammates for a counter-attack. At times probably holds on to the ball in that aspect too long. I feel he's got good passes out the back and he's a good tackler, but I feel him and Canute for Foden's goal, body positioning is all wrong, and I feel both of their body positioning invites players to take them on. I think Canute is the better player, and I think Canute is my sort of defender, and he just needs to get more experience. I think he had a decent game, even though France were playing an extremely high line. But if you look at, I think it was Solanke's goal. It was ranked. It was marked off for offside, which saved his blushes. But initially, it could have all been dealt with. He gets to the ball first. You either play it home or you clear it. He tries to shield it, and he does quite well. But I think he kicks it off. I can't remember who, but he kicks it off an England lad, and immediately England are in for an opportunity. And then you obviously see he tries to get back. He gets taken down the line. Ball comes in. Not Foden. Solanke's offside. So there's a lot of things to get out of their games. They're good players, but if he was playing, which I believe he can play for the Madrids and the Barcelonas one day, if he was playing for that, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. If he was playing in the Premier League, you would see a lot of things. They're good players, but when you're young, it's about becoming more calculated, people, and things of that nature. I was going to do another separate vid about this, but I do like Ensham. Forgive me if I've mispronounced him. He plays for Celtic. I think he was at Genoa at a piece, and he's of City. Of course, he's 23 years of age. He's still quite raw in several aspects, but I would like him at Arsenal potentially. I do think a lot of bigger clubs will assess him over this competition. He came off the bench, obviously. I think he reminds me a bit of Diaby, to be fair. Completely different, but a bit of Diaby because he's got good technical abilities. Shows a willingness to try and receive the ball, get out his feet and play them difficult passes, short and long. His long range radar at times is off, but I like the fact that he's not afraid to do it. Decent ball carrier, not afraid to shoot. Again, if you could just polish these up and make them better attributes and more glaring attributes, he could be a very good playoff people, in my opinion. I believe he's only made 16 appearances for Celtic last season. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll go and check that now. So again, he's still probably got to earn the trust of his manager and things like that and develop. France under 21. Oh, let's see. Where is he? Ensham, here we go. Oliver Ensham is his full name, people. And I know we want Turney as well from Celtic. So maybe, possibly, in regards to the Turney offer, money, a promising young player on loan, and just give them Jenkinson. Yeah, he's 23, people. He's contracted until 2022. Yeah, he made 16 appearances last season for Celtic in the league, I believe. 3 goals, 1 assist. Let me see how many is in all competitions quickly, people. 37 appearances in total, 6 goals and 1 assist. 4 appearances in Europa League, 6 in the Champions League qualifying, and 6 in the Premiership. Now, again, I do watch Celtic here and there, but I'm not watching them religiously. I assume he still has to earn the trust of his manager and things like that. I'm about to check if he's had some injuries and things that have played a part in him being unable to play. And yes, he has. He's had knee injuries initially. He's had a thigh muscle strain. He's had 2. He's had a recurrence of the thigh muscle strain. He's had knee injuries again. So he's had an injury-plagued season, more or less. So obviously there's that concerns people, but I like him a lot, man. Like I said, this video was a bit of a miss and mash and put a lot of things together. I was here to talk about Jeff, but I've offered my thoughts on Ikone, on Upamecano, on Canute, because I'm watching the championships as you lot are, people. I liked what I was seeing. It wasn't amazing, but I liked what I was seeing from Jonathan Tah, for example, of Germany. So, yeah, man. On that note, I'm going to get out of here, though. People, DG, thank you for watching. I'm out.